Oh, Silver Bells. You know, Silver Bells is one of those songs. I know I'm playing on my finely tuned instrument there, but Silver Bells is one of those types of songs that no matter if there's a vocalist singing it, they always sound like they're half in the bag. It's a perfect song for Dino to sing. He always made believe, or maybe he was half in a bag. But anyway, hello, 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 and welcome. Silver Bells. It's part of a famous portion of Time Bomb in the Cupboard, my book Time Bomb in the Cupboard, when everybody gets half in a bag and they keep singing Silver Bells. But at any rate, I love the song. It's a great song. And it's not actually, I don't think, from a Christmas movie. I think it's from something else. But I'll check into that. Hello, 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 and welcome to the world, not so world famous PGH Writing Command Center for another podcast episode from God Bless the Cake Publishing LLC. And that took me a minute and 45 seconds to get through. At any rate, welcome aboard. I am John Hausleben, the flagship author, chief photographer, music reviewer, music critic, and we're going to be doing music today. And chief cook, bottle washer here at God Bless the Cake Publishing LLC, with a little help from my friends. And we've got some of our. We got some small crowd gathered here. They're all full of turkey. And they're all full of wine and cranberry sauce, and they're stuffed. Oh, they had stuffing. I'm sorry. Anyway, it was a great Thanksgiving. We're recording this on Thanksgiving weekend. It was a fantastic holiday here at the world famous Command Center. I'd like to thank my good friend Courtney. She stopped by. Her mom prepared a little food-a-rooski for Paulie because everybody thinks I don't eat right, and I don't eat enough, and I'm too skinny. And they bring me these feasts, and they said, Courtney, I love you. It was fantastic. Thank you so much, you and your mom. I got the stuffing and the green bean, and they brought by this fantastic macaroni and cheese, which Paulie loves. But at any rate, this is fantastic stuff, and I hope you had a blessed and happy Thanksgiving. And now Thanksgiving is in the rear view mirror. Can you believe this? It's just unbelievable. I think somewhere along the line, God adjusted the time of the day to 20 hours. But God hasn't told anybody that yet, because it's just like zip, 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 zip. And before you know it, it's another year. And we're another year older, and what did Scrooge say? Not even a day richer. But at any rate, if you are a first-time listener, then welcome aboard. And if you're a long-time listener, a subscriber, then welcome back. And we're just really thrilled you're here to join us today. Thank you so much. Thank you. And before we get into the nuts and the bolts and the meat and the potatoes, it is really the Christmas season now. I'm not violating any of the old man's famous rules and regulations for holidays. So listen to the Thanksgiving podcast there with the cranberry sauce and the stuffing, because the old man, you couldn't, Christmas started right after Thanksgiving, not before. And we're going to be talking about Christmas music today, which the old man fervently said, no Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. And right before it was Thanksgiving Eve. And if you listen to the Pet Peeve podcast, right? The Pet Peeve podcast of Paulie. I have what I call season rushing. Season rushing drives me nuts. And I'm not going to rehash that. But one of the season rushing things is holidays. And let the seasons be what the seasons are. I mean, my goodness gracious, these greedy, crazy retailers with their crazy marketing and spammerooski. And I get this spam, not a spam, a marketing email. It's with a company I buy stuff on occasion. And it says, it was Thanksgiving Eve, folks. Thanksgiving Eve. And it says, last minute Christmas gifts. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Are you out of your minds? It's not even Thanksgiving yet. I haven't even touched the turkey yet. I haven't even taken a dive into the pool of cranberry sauce. And you guys are pushing last minute Christmas gifts? I'm not going to shop there anymore because of the email that drove me nuts. I had to have a couple pints to soften the blow. I would have had the pints anyway. But anyway, so I've digressed once again. But get your little Orphan Annie decoder pins out because it is time for a word from our sponsor. And we are proudly sponsored by Culprit Facilities Group Incorporated, the leader in technical consulting, facilities maintenance, facilities management, and operations, as well as property maintenance and management services throughout America. And also now headed up by the amazing Mr. Steve McMillan. They have pre-construction services and estimating for residential development, residential renovations, and light commercial projects for CFG Incorporated. So before you spend big bucks on a project, let old Steve Aruski check out the contractor scope and price to make sure your hard-earned money is going in exactly the right place. Check them out on the web at www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. That's www.corporatefacilitiesgroup1.com. You can also click on the little link koozie in the podcast episode website and let the magic of the internet take you to CFG's website. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you, Steve, Lydia, Liliana, Summer the doggy, and Smokey the kitty cat at CFG Incorporated for sponsoring our podcast. And also thank you for changing up the text of the promo again. Every time I have it memorized, there's a little tweak-a-rooski. I go, oh my goodness gracious. But thank you so much, CFG Incorporated. Here we are. And you've got just a few more days here for Reese across America. I don't have that actual date in front of me, but I know it's coming up. It's reaseacrossamerica.org. Check them out on the web. Great organization that puts Holiday Reese on the graves of veterans throughout America. You can find them on the web. It's .org. And but still time to donate and purchase a wreath, or if you are close to a location that they will be laying the wreaths, you can volunteer to help them out. Wonderful organization. Check it out. And if you have, I know the holidays are coming. If you have a special event, a charity, a goodwill function that you like Paulie to mention, please email us at godblessthekegpublishing@gmail.com. That's godblessthekegpublishing@gmail.com. Thank you so much. So today's podcast, we've started the Christmas season. No violations of rules and regulations. So we can play some music here. And the old man won't haunt me here and yell at me. So we have today what I call the 5 best studio albums from the golden age of Christmas. And let me explain that. The golden age of Christmas, and these are instrumentals only, not the crooners, not the Sinatras, not the Johnny Mathis, none of that. These are just going to be orchestra instrumentals. And the golden age of Christmas, I do believe, would be from the 50s, 60s, and into about the mid-70s. And like I mentioned, the old man would not play Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. So generally on the weekend after Thanksgiving, the old man would let us put our Christmas tree up. We'd get the decorations out. We'd, put the Thanksgiving in the rearview mirror. Make sure Fritzy the parakeet is locked up in his cage. And we would get into playing the Christmas music. The old man would roll out his LPs, classic LPs, and put them on what he called his Victrola, which was an old record player in our living room. Now, my father was a huge Frank Sinatra fan. He was a huge music fan, and he loved all kinds of music. And he loved the crooners, Perry Como, Dean Martin, Tony Bennett, Sinatra. Joe Stafford was another favorite. Julie London. Everybody loved Julie London. My goodness gracious. What a beautiful woman. Anyway, all these crooners and those were his favorite kinds of records. And he'd spin them on a weekend. But Christmas time, he'd go up in the attic in the crawl space and he'd pull out his LPs. And I still see them in my mind. And it gave me a great appreciation. This is kind of the music that was the backdrop of our lives during the holiday season. And my father would sit in his chair there after we decorate the Christmas tree and turn all the lights out and all that for dramatic effect. And he'd be playing one of his records. And some of the records on our list here, the 5 best as rated by Paulie here, are one or two are definitely in the old man's spin list on his collection. Others come from just my musical background and listening. And I was very lucky in the Paterson, New Jersey area to have a radio station, WPAT, Whiskey Papa Alpha Tango, out of Paterson. Actually, transmitters were over in Clifton. But WPAT was a legendary, easy listening station. And I mentioned it, I think, in my Magic of Radio podcast. But every Christmas season, they would sporadically, as Thanksgiving ended and the Christmas season picked up steam, they would sporadically, every hour, maybe 4 or 5 Christmas songs would enter into the playlist. So you'd be listening, the old man would be taking us to the hardware store. We'd go into what he called the big stores to get some supplies or something. And he'd have WPAT tuned in on his AM radio in the old putter, the 1964 putter classic. And all of a sudden, between, other songs, a Christmas song would come on. And some of these are embedded in my mind because of that. And then the coup de grace was on Christmas Eve. And originally, I believe it started at 6 p.m. And then they moved it up to 12 noon on Christmas Eve. And they had a program called The Spirit of Christmas, WPAT. And it would start with the continuous Christmas music from, say, 12 noon or 6 p.m. until midnight on Christmas Day. And they would do it without commercials, minimum commercials. I think at the top of the hour, they'd say, hey, this hour of the Spirit of Christmas is sponsored by CFG Incorporated type thing. So it was pretty much commercial free. And that was always something the old man, and actually I did too. I really look forward to it. And it was all music from the golden age of Christmas. So that embedded in my mind. And being a music lover, I've sought out a lot of these recordings. It's nostalgic. It brings you back to those holidays, to the Christmas music is, and we're going to do annoying Christmas music podcast too, because a lot of it can be annoying too. But this golden age music is kind of just relaxing, but it invokes the memories, the nostalgia, the beauty of Christmas music is unparalleled. I think more music has been written about Christmas than probably any other holiday or event or time of the year. It just invokes those types of memories. And for me, to spin some of these records takes me back to the living room there at 182 Belmont Ave in Haledon and 52 Wayne Ave in Paterson, where we grew up. And my father's love of Christmas music really inspired that backdrop. Now, there was another program that came on that was unique to the area. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, maybe Pennsylvania, maybe North eastern corner. I don't know. Wherever you could receive the famous Channel 11 out of New York City, WPIX, Whiskey Papa India X-ray on Channel 11 in the old broadcast days. And they had a program, and I want to say it came on at 9 p.m. and it went till midnight. And I might be wrong about the original hours. And it was called the Yule log. And it was the brainstorm of an executive at WPIX who felt that New Yorkers, New Jersey city folk, didn't have a fireplace for Christmas. So he came up with this film. They originally filmed it at Gracie Mansion, the mayor's mansion in New York City, and something happened. A spark came out and it caught the rug on fire, and it ruined the heirloom rug. But at any rate, it was a looping tape, pretty much the same. It would pan in, pan out, pan in, pan out, and they would just play Christmas music, and the fire would go. And it was like a backdrop for the holiday for folks that didn't have a fireplace. And it really caught on. It was so popular. And then something happened to the original tape. It got old, so they filmed a new Yule log out in California, of all places. And I think they filmed it during the summer or something. It's a crazy story. You can look it up on the web. But anyway, so it was Christmas music from start to finish. A lot of the golden age of Christmas music is contained in the Yule log. So that was another backdrop. And these artists are timeless and great musical composers and arrangers and musicians on these orchestras. It's just fabulous. And recorded on older equipment with that softer vacuum tube vibe to it. So the Yule log, and you can check out on the web, there's a fella named Chip, and he's from my old stomping grounds. Well, Total Borough, next to the city of Patterson, and with a fella named, his last name was Malzone. They resurrected the Yule log because it went off the air, and they were advocates to bring it back, and they convinced the management to bring it back. And Chip is a amazing Christmas music expert. I mean, he has just volumes and volumes of Christmas music. The guy's like a guru. And Chip managed with his partner there to get them to come back on the air. And then they asked him to do a couple more hours to expand it. And I believe that the Yule log is still featured on Christmas Eve or maybe Christmas Day on some of the. I know you can stream it on WPIX out of New York City, but I think Antenna TV, one of the broadcast old time stations that play the old shows, have brought back the Yule log, and I think it has commercials. Originally, it was commercial free, but you know how those things go. Things are so expensive. So, anyway, those are some resources to check it out, and we're going to get into, and this is going to be a very, very interesting rated on my rated series because I thought Jethro Tull was hard and Lightfoot was hard, but this one was really tough for me. And because I couldn't spin a lot of records before the Thanksgiving because of my family rules. So Thanksgiving ended. So yesterday I spent a lot of time dissecting the music. And this is going to be, I have 3 honorable mentions. Usually I only have 2, but I have 3. And I just could not decide. So I said, Paulie, let's just put all 3 in there and get it over with. So here we go. This is going to be, from the rated series, the 5 best studio albums from the golden age of Christmas. Instrumental, orchestra only. No, there might be some people in the background going la, la, la or something. But for the most part, this is just purely instrumental music. So here we go. Up first in our on mention from 1963, a German conductor, arranger, composer, Bert Kaempfer. And he had a number of hits on the charts back then, but he recorded an album called Christmas Wonderland. And as is the case with a lot of these on this list, they tend to be very short LPs. Some of them 30 minutes, 32 minutes running time, 40 minutes at the most, 42 minutes. And a lot of the cuts are very short. And that this album is so great. It is so good that I wish he added a little more time to it. But Camphor had a way of arranging, and he has some horn sections in there, and he has some unique takes on the Christmas classics. But what makes Christmas Wonderland special, and it's a very difficult disc to find. You can find it in vinyl on some of the used sites for fairly inexpensive, but in CD form or cassette tape form, if you can even find it, the collectors in pristine condition, they want upwards of $80, $90 sometimes for the Burt Camphor original Christmas Wonderland. There are some re-records on it and some European releases, and I believe you can get it in an MP download. But if you can find it and give it a spin, it's an amazing album. But why I put it on the on mention is there's original compositions by Camphor on here. Holiday for Bells, Toy Parade, The Amazing Jingo Jango, and I'm going to go back to Jingo Jango, the title cut, Christmas Wonderland, and then there's the Children's Christmas Dream. The original compositions are shining stars, all of them, especially Holiday for Bells and Jingo Jango. If you can go on the big video, YouTube, and check out the video. This guy has a house, and I want to say it was in Minnesota, and he did the synchronized light show to Jingo Jango. You'll recognize the tune as soon as you hear it. It's been a backdrop for TV commercials here and there over the years. Jingo Jango is so much fun. I guarantee, even without consuming those famous Paulie pints, you'll be dancing around your Christmas tree to Jingo Jango. So check out that light show. So on the on mention, we got Burt Camphor, a 1963 recording, Christmas Wonderland. The other on mention comes from Argentina, Argentinian composer who rose to fame in a roundabout way, had a tragic life. Unfortunately, had a tragic life. Waldo de los Rios. Sorry for the terrible Spanish accent with my New Jersey accent, but the album is actually Christmas with Waldo de los Rios, and it has such unique like Latin beats to Christmas classics, particularly "Hark the Herald Angels Sing." And I can remember this coming on WPAT every year. It would always make an appearance, and it's got some just the little drum beats, the little cha-cha-cha type things to it. And Waldo was famous, absolutely famous, for taking recordings, classical recordings, and making them into like pop classics. And he was prevalent in the 60s and into the 70s until he tragically passed away. And just a unique, and his orchestra and his musicians were fabulous, but he was a fabulous arranger of classical music and turning it into semi-pop, and he does that on the Christmas album too. Just unique arrangements. But Waldo is really super, super famous for back in 2010 on the Rush Limbaugh radio program. Rush, in the background, I guess when he went to commercial break or something, was playing a Waldo recording, Mozart Symphony number 40 in G minor. And it's a re-record into that pop type atmosphere and vibe. And Rush is vibing out and just praising how fantastic this recording is. And it is. It's fantastic. And if you can see, there's a couple black and white videos available, the whole orchestra with Waldo leading it. This guy was a musical genius. This guy was amazing. And that recording overnight, Rush had a popular TV radio show, and overnight, because it was playing there, it shot to number one on the big internet shopping machine musical charts, and it hung out there for a little while. So Waldo has a great Christmas record. It is a little hard to find. This is another one that you're gonna have to dig around a little bit. If you can spin vinyl, you'll find it easier than if you are just a CD person or a download MP download only. So there it is, another on mention, and then the other on mention comes from a gentleman named Felix Slatkin, and he was very famous conductor arranger. Primarily, he started on Capitol, and Frank Sinatra would use Felix all the time. He was also a great violinist, but Frank insisted on Felix being his violinist and also helping him with arrangements at Capitol. And this record is called "The Fantastic Strings of Felix Slatkin." And he never rose to the fame as like a Glenn Miller or something, but he moved over to Liberty Records, the famous Liberty Records, and his arrangements also, and maybe because he's a violinist, they're heavy with the strings, but just perfect arrangements, a little unique spin on things, and it really stands out, his arrangements, because of his unique spin. I particularly love his arrangement of "Deck the Halls," traditional song. So that's the other on mention from the very, very talented Felix Slatkin. It is "Season's Greetings, the Fantastic Strings of Felix Slatkin." And I believe it was originally released on Capitol. The copy I have is on Liberty. So check that out. It's got some great liner notes on Felix history. He was in the U.S. Army during World War II and doing bands and morale things. Great guy and very talented. So those are my on mentions. Now we're going to get to the 5 to the 1, with Paulie always doing 5 being a really great record, 1 being supercalifragilistic. You know the rest of it. So number 5 in the rated series of the greatest studio albums from the golden age of Christmas is the Hollywood Strings Christmas Favorites. Now here's a more, did I write down? Yeah, 1965. It's from 1965, but it's got this whole vibe to it, and it's got this sort of rock and roll poppy thing. There's some electric guitars, there's some electric bass. You can tell there's some nice drums in there and harpsichords. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on here. And this comes also from Capitol. And it is conducted, arranged, and all these compositions reorganized and arranged by a fellow named Stu Phillips. And he was one of the conductors on the in-house orchestras at Capitol Records. And the in-house orchestras are doing their own recordings, but they might also do some radio work or TV work in the backdrop. But basically, they're the in-house orchestra at the time for Capitol Records. And they do have a lot of strings. They have traditional orchestra here and instrumentals going on. And Hollywood Strings did a lot of these more upbeat, different types of recordings. They did the Beach Boys. They did a record of the Beatles. They did they took some of the music of the more popular artists, and Stu and the other in-house would rearrange them and do these really cool recordings. And worth checking out, the Holly Ridge Strings. The version of Jingle Bells on this is the best Jingle Bells I've ever heard. And it's unique because, very much like Waldo, there's just a different vibe to it. It's something you generally don't hear. And check it out. So number 5 is the Holly Ridge Strings Christmas Favorites. It has a unique cover, as does the Burt Kampfer. I forgot to mention the cover art. I don't know what's going on that Burt Camper cover. It's like trees with the snow on them, and they're kind of bent over, and there's a guy walking in the snowy path. It's but well, Christmas favorites too is a very dark recording. If you study it, it's a person's face or something amidst Christmas lights. So me as a photographer, I find this stuff very interesting, the angles they take on these and the spins. So there we go. So number 4 is from 1963, The Spirit of Christmas by the Living Strings. And this is a recording from England, and it's by a gentleman named Johnny Douglas, another famous composer, arranger, orchestra leader of that time. And this is also an older recording, I believe, from the 60s too, and it's recorded in London. And now you talk about great cover art. As a photographer, check this cover art out. I don't know who staged the photo. I would just buy this record just for the cover art, just to get that photograph. It's got an old-fashioned candle or one of those old-fashioned Christmas ornaments. It's got a tablecloth and a backdrop of red velvet. And whoever did this photography, kudos to you. Fantastic cover art. And this is the Spirit of Christmas, the Living Strings. Johnny Douglas just does a fantastic arrangement job, but it's so gentle. All the songs in here, with the strings being prevalent, are very, very gentle. And the recordings are a little unique in the arrangements, but what I really enjoy about it is the gentleness of the record. So that is number 4, and it's got all the traditional cuts on there. You know, the old traditional Christmas records and recordings and songs, but just a gentle, great arrangements. I don't know how he set his microphones up, but great recording. So Johnny Douglas with his Spirit of Christmas, the Living Strings Orchestra, comes in at number 4. Number 3. The great Montevani from Italy. I believe he was English Italian. And the maestro recorded a famous Christmas record called Christmas Carols. Now, Montevani did a number of Christmas records, but in my opinion, Christmas Carols is the best. And that's why I put it at number 3. And why I am particularly a Montevani fan of his arrangements is he used the ascending string type arrangement. And me being a huge ELO, Electric Light Orchestra fan with Jeff Lynne, and I'd love to ask Mr. Lynne if he ever listened to Montevani, if it was an inspiration for him with his strings, with his cellos and all the electric violins and things that ELO had going on, particularly on like Living Thing, that kind of song. But Montevani was a master of the ascending strings. And Jeff Lynne actually used ascending and descending strings in Electric Light Orchestra. So I'm really gravitated towards Montevani and Christmas Carols. Now, it's got great cover art too. I think this is a drawing though. But if you can, this is easy to find. This was out of print for a long time, and if it was, people were asking, outrageous amount of money for it on CD. But then they re-released it a few years ago, and it's pretty easy to find here. The strings on "Hark the Herald Angels Sing" is just a thing of beauty. And check it out. So that is at number 3, the great maestro Montevani with Christmas Carols. Now, interesting, the next number 2 and number 1 here share something with Montevani, and Christmas Carols was originally recorded. It's a Decca. It was on Decca, 1953 in London, but it was recorded in 1953 on mono. And then it was re-recorded in stereo in 1958. So the next 2, number 2, was originally recorded in 1958. It's Hallelujah by the great Canadian-American conductor, arranger, music genius Percy Faith. Now, Percy Faith was all over the charts for Theme from a Summer Place. And I'm doing this from memory. This is not, I wrote some of the dates down on paper, but I know Percy Faith competed with the Beatles at one time on the pop charts. And I think it was Theme for a Summer Place, knocked the Beatles off the charts at number one. I can't, I'm doing that from memory, folks. So I might be wrong, but Percy Faith was just a prolific, and the Percy Faith Orchestra, prolific recorder and orchestra conductor and arranger. And his Christmas records, I believe there's three of them. Christmas is the other one. Without a doubt, Percy Faith is the king of the golden age of Christmas. As good as the other recordings are, nobody can touch Percy Faith and his unique arrangements. And his musicians, whoever they were, he picked the cream of the crop. And he was also a radio guy who had orchestra and radio and worked his way up. And you could check him out. He was Canadian and then moved in and rose to fame in America. And was highly sought out by everybody, and his Christmas records are just magnificent. So number two is Hallelujah, 1958. Now, the interesting thing about this, it was repackaged after number one was recorded and published, and they repackaged it as Christmas Volume 2, the Music of Christmas Volume 2. And the Hallelujah thing kind of got pushed to the side, and they called it Music of Christmas Volume 2. But until they released this on CD about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a company called Real Gone Music, and they're still around, and they would take old recordings, and it was very hard. Sony had a lot of the musical rights for these old recordings to get them to license you to package it and sell it. And this record was commanding at times, I saw $600, $700, $800 for a copy of the Music of Christmas Volume 2. Hallelujah was available on vinyl, old vinyl, and people had lots of copies of that. And then it was licensed, and it was re-released, and of course the prices came way down. So I think you can pick this up fairly easily. You once more a mono and the stereo, so you have to be careful of which you want to pick up. So on this record has my favorite version of We Three Kings. We Three Kings of Orient are, which ironically was my dad. My dad did not like that song. The two songs my father would always skip was We Three Kings, because he had bad memories of having to sing it in a school play or something. I got to dig into that with my dear mom. But I make fun of the song and my dad's dislike of it. I think it's in Christmas Cocktails, my book, Christmas Cocktails. There's a story, Mistletoe and Mayhem. And I make fun of the old man's fervent dislike of We Three Kings. The other song he always skipped was the 12 Days of Christmas, because he says, I wish it was like the 5 days, the 6 days. Why didn't they have to go to the 12th? By the time they get to the 12th, you want to cut the pear tree down, stuff the partridge, and cook them for dinner. So, but this record has cymbal crashing to start. Percy Faith, his arrangements is just amazing, and me being just a music fan, it's funny for me to be just gushing over traditional golden age music of instrumentation and orchestras, but I'm a prog rocker, but I just have an appreciation for musical genius. And Percy Faith, the cymbal crashing, and then it goes into the main melody of We Three Kings of Orient are. It's just so distinctive and so amazing. So number two is the Music of Christmas, Volume 2 / Hallelujah. And number one, in a place of its own, is once more Percy Faith, and it is simply called The Music of Christmas. Percy Faith and his orchestra. And once more, this was recorded in mono. And then amazingly, it was in recorded in New York City, and it was originally recorded in 1954 in mono, and then re-recorded in 1959 in stereo. But far and away, as Alea said, as great as all the other ones are, Percy Faith and his orchestra, the music of Christmas, Joy to the World, Silent Night, Deck the Halls, has all the popular ones. The 10th cut, the Holly and the Ivy, Here We Go Caroling, is my favorite cut on this because of the arrangement of how Percy transitioned from the first melody into the second melody. And they just go together. They just really go together. So this one gets a special spin. This one was also my dad's favorite Christmas record from the Golden Age instrumental. So maybe that's why I have a soft spot for it. I don't know, but it's the most featured of all the recordings on the Yule log. Percy Faith makes an appearance more than any other artist. So how about that? There we have them for you on your rated series. Paulie's number 5 is Christmas Favorites. Holly Ridge Strings. Spirit of Christmas is Living Strings. Number 4. Christmas Carols from Manavani. Number 3. Hallelujah / Music of Christmas Volume 2. Percy Faith. And number 1 is the Music of Christmas, Percy Faith. So there we have it. Those are my rated for the Golden Age of Christmas instrumentals. And of course, we have our on mention with Bert Kampfer at Christmas Wonderland. We have Waldo, Christmas with Waldo, and we have Felix Slatkin with his Christmas record and Season's Greetings, the fantastic strings of Felix Slatkin in on mentions. And thank you so much. Get your Christmas tree out now. Start spinning some great music. We're going to do a couple more. We're going to do the most annoying Christmas the most annoying Christmas songs. And maybe we'll do a modern, Paulie's rated on the modern Christmas albums. I've got quite a few on there that I have to spin and decide. So, and then coming up to the holiday, we have a number of different podcasts related to Christmas. And then hopefully right before Christmas Eve, I'm going to tell another famous old man story in our Christmas holiday podcast special, which will be entitled The Christmas Tree, which comes from my collection of short stories. And that one's going to be another old man humorous adventure about when the old man finally conceded defeat to my sister and mom and I, and he authorized us to have a real Christmas tree. So that'll be a special holiday podcast, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you could get your own records out and start spinning them as a prelude to the holiday season and enjoy it with music. It's very special this time of year. So, hey, please be kind, be gentle, be very tolerant. Remember, kindness is for free. Spread it around as much as you can. It can only make this world a better place. And I got to get these people out of here now. I've got to get the place cleaned up, the Writing Command Center. I'm going to do a video tour on the Writing Command Center here. And I got to get the Christmas tree out. I'm going to get the Christmas lights up, take down my Thanksgiving decorations. People who come to the Command Center always, I don't season rush, you know. I have my Thanksgiving decorations, then they come down, I put the Christmas up, and then in the winter, I always have little lights and things, just festive. I have little snowflakes or snowman guys or something, and then we got spring and Easter, and then in the summer, we got my summer decorations, which are primarily beer cans. And then in the fall, we transition to leaves and stuff. So we just enjoy decorating, and that's what we're going to do this afternoon. And I recommend you have a great rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. Enjoy it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I've got to get my finely tuned instrument here. Thank you so much. And I'm tuning up on the old silver bells. Hey, we'll see you next. What do I really know? I'm just a guy from Patterson, New Jersey. Hey, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Bye bye.